enough, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. For thus saith Yahweh of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Brother Jonas, and the title of this video is Israel Rejects a Great King. Brothers and sisters, when it comes to life, we all make choices, and the fate of our lives comes down to the choices we make. From the very beginning in Genesis, choices were made that have affected us throughout the ages. You know, Adam and Eve. When it comes to Israel, we have a long, solid history of making the worst choices in the history of the world, except for the choice that Esau made. You know, selling his birthright for a bowl of stew. Thank you, Esau. We're going to see the nation of Israel reject the greatest king in the history of this universe, and we know that there is a motive behind it. Israel's motive is to corrupt and control their king because they cannot corrupt and control God. There's an old saying, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. And that's exactly what Israel is going to get. Everything we deserve as a nation. Centuries of sadness, pain, torment, famine, and separation from our God. The choices we make as a nation are going to take us deeper into a pit of hell that we must live through until the return of Christ. Now, this is during the time of the judges after we went into the land of Israel, and at the time we had a king who is a God, and his name was Yahushua, whom the world calls Jesus. Psalms 95, verse 3. For Yahweh is a great God and a great king above all gods. See, here King David has declared that the Most High is a great God and a great king. 1 Samuel 8, verse 1. And it came to pass when Samuel was old, that he made his sons judges over Israel. Samuel the prophet had a direct line to the Most High, and as a judge, which is simply a ruler, he took instruction from the Most High and passed those instructions down to Israel. Now that Samuel was old and the time for his replacement was at hand, he made his sons judges or rulers over Israel. Verse 2. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second, Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, which is money, and took bribes and perverted justice. The two sons of Samuel, Joel and Abiah, became judges, and his sons were wicked. They did not walk in his way of righteousness. It's funny how you can have a righteous man and then his children are the complete opposite and are very wicked, but we see this quite often in the Bible. Samuel's sons went after lucre or money, and they took bribes and perverted justice. We see the same thing every day in all the governments, in different social circles, and in all people throughout the world, except for a few righteous. Verse 4. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah. And they said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. This is classic Israel, y'all. Following after the other nations, wanting to have the things that they have and begging for a man to rule over them. We have the great God that created heaven and the universe, that destroyed Pharaoh and his army, that did the simple thing of parting the Red Sea, and then built up the land of Canaan filled it with food and buildings, and gave it to us. Then we asked for a man to rule over us instead of this great God. That is very insulting. Stupid is as stupid does. And if you don't believe that, simply look at us today. How we act, talk, dress, and carry ourselves. We follow the lead of Satan's wicked children by their witchcraft we call media. Their media has led us by the nose ever since it came into play. That's just another form of the whip that we can't see. Verse 6, but the thing displeased Samuel when they said, give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto Yahweh. Samuel had to be thinking that these idiots have lost their mind. Verse 7, and Yahweh said unto Samuel, hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee, for they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me. They have rejected me, that I should not be a king over them. You see, the Most High is going to let Israel have what they asked for. Remember I said there's an old saying, be careful what you ask for. And now they're going to get it. But first, the Most High is going to warn them, because that's what he does. The Most High will warn us of the snares and traps and pitfalls that are in front of us. But it's up to us to listen or hearken to him. Verse 8, according to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, in that they have forsaken me and served other gods, so do they also unto thee. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit thou shalt protest solemnly unto them, and shalt show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them, or show them the kind of king that they're going to have to deal with. The Most High told Samuel to listen to what they say, and told him to protest with rigor or protest very strongly against it, and then tell them about the kind of king they will have. This is a big time warning that they will not listen to, because all they can see is what they want. That's how we are today. All we see is what we want. For whatever personal agenda they had, those idiotic little minds of those Israelite men will bring Israel to its knees. They don't realize that they are trading a diamond the size of the earth for a grain of sand. And that is a very small comparison. Now, Samuel's warning against having kings. Verse 10, and Samuel told all the words of Yahweh unto the people that asked him of a king. This is a warning that anybody can see, because the Most High does not lie. And he is about to tell them, this is what you will have if you move forward. This is like someone telling you that you are about to step off the cliff and fall 1,000 feet. And it is like someone telling you you are about to step on a landmine and become hamburger. Verse 11, and he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them unto him for his chariots and to be his horsemen, and they shall run before his chariots. The kings you choose will take your sons to war. Verse 12, and he will appoint them unto him for captains of thousands and captains of 50s, and he will set some to plow his ground and to reap his harvest and to make his instruments of war and the instruments of his chariots. The kings you choose will use your sons for labor, for his personal wants and needs. Verse 13. And he will take your daughters to be perfumers, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. The kings you choose will take your daughters and put them to work for his personal needs and wants. Verse 14. And he will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. The kings you choose will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, the things that you possess, and give them to his servants, his cronies, as bribes and payments for their loyalty to him. Verse 15. And he will take the 10th of your seed and of your vineyards and give to his officers and to his servants. You know, my old times here in the U.S. and in Europe, they call that aristocracy. So in other words, the kings will create an aristocracy in a sense, taken from the people, giving it to a few other people to rule over those people that they took from. So Israel, the kings you choose will take a 10th of what you have and give it to his servants and his cronies as bribes and payments for their loyalty, and what you have will become less and less over time. Verse 16, and he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young men and your asses and put them to his work. The kings you choose, Israel, will take your workers, your asses, and put them to work for him at no cost to him and at no profit to you. What you own, you really don't own, because the king you choose, Israel, will take what he wants. Verse 17, he will take the 10th of your flocks, and ye shall be his servants. The kings you choose will take a 10th of your flocks, and you will be his servants. Keep in mind, O Israel, that you still must pay a 10th as tithe for the Levites in the Most High. Verse 18, and ye shall cry out in that day because of your king whom ye shall have chosen you, and Yahweh will not answer you in that day. Now the Most High is telling them, when all this happen, you will cry out to me because of the kings and the things that they are doing to you. The Most High is warning them now about what will happen for sure, guaranteed, bona fide, in the very near future and beyond. The Most High is also telling them that when this happens, I will not hear your cry. You will sleep in the bed you made, and you will eat the food of the table that you have set before yourselves. Now, the Most High grants Israel's request. Verse 19, but the people refused to hearken unto the voice of Samuel. Man, we don't want to hear that. Give us a king. And they said, nay, which means no, but we will have a king over us. The stiff-necked, knuckle-headed, idiotic morons refused to listen to Samuel and refused to listen to the great God and King Yahweh. They said, no, but we will have a king over us. You can't make this up, y'all. Anybody today with a righteous mind can clearly see how stupid we are, was, and is as a people. Verse 20, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles. Unbelievable. They want to be like all the nations. They don't want to be above the nations as the Most High wanted us to be as the Most High set us up to be, but they want to be like all the nations. They want a man to judge them and go out before them and fight their battles. They don't want God to fight their battles, but a man. Unbelievable. Verse 21. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of Yahweh. He told the Most High. And Yahweh said to Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye every man unto his city. And the Most High said to Samuel, it is done. Make them a king. How do you kick God, the creator of heaven and earth, to one side and choose men to rule over you? I would ask you to try to see the logic in that thinking, but there is no logic in that thinking. I would ask you to try to see any bright spot in what they're doing, but there is only darkness in what they're doing. Yahushua is our king, and we rejected him in the wilderness. And we rejected him during the time of Judges, asking for a man to rule over us. And we rejected him when he came in the flesh. It is with great thankfulness that I have for the Most High, that he holds true to his word to our forefathers and to us, that he would never leave or forsake us because of our stupidity. We have his great mercy that he will overlook the actions of some and shake out the bad and gather the good to an everlasting life of goodness, peacefulness, and righteousness. As for me, this great King Yahweh, through his son Yahushua, is my king. And I recognize no other man or entity or authority or power as my king or my ruler. The message behind this story today: don't make bad choices. Consider the choices that you're going to make before you make them, and then choose wisely. Peace, Israel. TikTok.